It's 8:33, live in studio. Kaitlyn Gibble from, is it Gibble?
Yep, you got it.
Okay, self-proclaimed beer marketing guru. And how did you get that title?
I have one of the best jobs in the world. I get to talk about beer and photograph beer and promote beer. It's great.
Yeah, you're from Holiday Brewing Company, and which is based in Golden, Colorado. And I've got to tell you, going in, that Flagstaff has been designated by the governor as the craft beer city of Arizona. So you've got some competition here, but I think you've got a quality product here that's going to give some of the breweries here a run for their money. And I wanted to begin with the origins of Holiday Brewing Company and your idea of creating a gluten-free brewery and a whole line of beers that's gluten-free. This is somewhat avant-garde, and it's a great idea for those who can't handle gluten.
Absolutely, yeah. So we are certified gluten-free. So all of the ingredients that go into our beer are gluten-free from the start. We're a woman-owned brewery, like you said, out of Golden, Colorado. And the name Holidaily Brewing is really a cool story about our founder starting the brewery after going through cancer twice and being told she had to cut gluten from her diet. And at the time, she was working in the beer industry, and cutting beer out of her diet just wasn't possible for her. Right. So she decided to do a lot of research and testing and started her own brewery that's completely gluten-free.
Yeah, and the cool thing about the Holidaily Brewing Company is that all the beers are 100% gluten-free, and you begin the process from the ground up. And the entire facility, from beginning to end, is completely gluten-free. It's not just partial, and you don't do any kind of other beer other than gluten-free, right?
Correct, yep. Yeah. So the main ingredients that can cause issues for people that need to avoid gluten are wheat and barley. Those both have gluten, and that's what most beer is made out of. So instead of using barley and wheat, we use certified grains that are gluten-free. They're called buckwheat and millet. So that's what we brew our beer with.
Ah, yeah. And I'm vaguely familiar with those grains. Maybe you could explain the protein relationship and what causes gluten and why it's potentially a bad thing for certain individuals.
Yeah, so this protein is found in lots of different grains. I mentioned barley and wheat, but it's also in rye, it's in oats. And, people who have issues with gluten will find that they get really bloated or they have joint issues. And then some are just told from their doctor, hey, you need to cut this out medically because you have celiac disease. So whether you are gluten-free or not, we find that our customers really enjoy having a beer that doesn't make them feel sick or, bloated afterwards. So it's really a great beer option for anybody, whether you're gluten-free or not.
That's a good point. And, sometimes I wonder, after having a couple of beers and my stomach is not quite right, whether or not, the gluten is affecting me or not. So Holidaily Brewing Company is America's dedicated gluten-free brewery located in Golden, Colorado. Does the Golden location of your company facilitate the success of your business and as far as the brewery culture and the popularity of beer in that area?
Absolutely. So just like Flagstaff, Golden is very well known for craft beer and beer in general. We've got a little brewery called Coors just down the street. So that draws a lot of visitors that are interested in learning more about beer, and they get really intrigued by the idea of a gluten-free beer, and they come check us out, and they're pleasantly surprised when they try our beer and say, you know what, this tastes just like beer.
Yeah, and one of the things about Karen, your founder, is that you've named your kind of flagship beer Favorite Blonde. Maybe you can tell the story behind that.
Yeah, so that's a fun one. She, growing up, her grandfather called her his favorite blonde, and he would be called by her favorite gray. And he was an optometrist and just a really important part of her life. So she named her first distributed beer Favorite Blonde after that memory of her grandfather. And the can artwork has, looks like an optometry eye chart, and it's got the optometry office design in there. So it's a really fun one that we really like to show off the can artwork on.
Cool stuff, yeah. And you've got a bunch of beers here. The Buckwheat Belgian, and Belgian's become hugely popular nationwide. That style of beer, and you've got an IPA and a Vienna Lager, and at the brewery itself, if anyone's ever up in Golden, you have a tap room, right?
Yes.
And a tasting facility, and it's kind of a go-to as far as a local attraction, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So we've got a tap room in Golden, and then we have a production brewery right next door, 10,000 square feet. So we're actually the largest dedicated gluten-free brewery in the U.S., which people are really intrigued to see what that looks like, what kind of equipment we have, how do we brew a beer that's gluten-free. So it's a lot of fun to be able to explain the process and show them the grains that we use.
Let's talk about the women-owned facet of the operation. I know you collaborate with the SBA, and there's also a division of the SBA, which is the WOSB, Women-Owned Small Business, that you're participating in.
Yes, that's right. So we submitted an application, and they look at diversity within the workplace, primarily the women-owned aspect, and what percentage of women work within our company. So that's been really cool to be a part of that organization, especially in an industry that's very male-dominated. So it's very rare to see a women-owned craft brewery, but they're growing in numbers more and more. So it's fun to be a part of that.
Yeah, and you're also involved with Women's Business Enterprise, which is a national organization that encourages women-owned businesses to thrive and prosper.
Yes, which is great. They've invited Karen to come speak and share her story at events. We've learned a lot from other women business owners, and it's a really cool program to be a part of.
Kaitlyn's here from Holidaily Brewing Company. For more information about all this, holidailybrewing.com. If somebody wants to find these beers locally, they're all over the place.
Yes, they are. We're all across northern Arizona, which I know your listeners are all from Flagstaff, Prescott, Sedona. So you can find us there in bars, liquor stores, grocery stores. Just visit our website, holidailybrewing.com, to find locations.
Yeah, you can get it downtown at Hoot Mart. You're at Whole Foods and Sprouts, and really taking off. And I wish you the best of success. Oh, and let's not forget our partners at Legacy. And,
yes.
Legacy is a great community partner, not only of this radio group, but of a lot of other local businesses.
Yep, and they're helping us get our beer as far and wide as possible across northern Arizona. So we appreciate Legacy a lot.
Holidaily Brewing with all kinds of great beer, 100% gluten-free. Kaitlyn, thanks for your information and your advocacy, and good luck moving forward.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.